Good evening, fellow entrepreneurs, small business owners, and side hustlers. My name is Ntawoza Shachwayo, and welcome once again to this week's episode of the Business Forecast. That's right, it's the Entrepreneurs Podcast. It's the show that gets you connected to a wide array of business people, experienced professionals, and successful entrepreneurs who are all here with one goal, and that is to help you get your business to the next level. We are, of course, a community of entrepreneurs organized by a company called Filigree Innovations. On Facebook, we do have a group that has over 318,000 members. And what we're trying to do is build an economy and our own economy, our ecosystem that will help, where we help one another out to get our businesses to the next level. And this is why we have this podcast again, so that we connect you guys to the information that you need, the advice that you need, the experience that you need, and the opportunities that you need to take your businesses to the next level. We've had awesome episodes over the weeks, and I'm sure we've learned a lot. And if you've never seen any one of our episodes, I'd advise you to go back and watch some of our other episodes, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel, because this information is exactly what you need to help your business. Today, we have another important topic, and that is the importance of having a marketing strategy. Yes, we've heard about how important marketing is. We've heard about how important digital marketing is. But now we're talking about actually developing a strategy, a marketing strategy for your business, because that could be the be all or end all for your business in terms of your marketing, endeavors. So today, helping us out with this topic is someone who has a lot of experience in this field, and she's gained a lot of success with, marketing strategies. I am, of course, talking about Bashni Maharaj. Bashni is a seasoned and well-respected marketing researcher, insight specialist, and strategist. She has been a marketing strategist, a leadership officer in a lot of high-level corporate businesses, both locally and internationally. And right now, she's founded her own company called the Insight Track, where she takes this knowledge of marketing insights and marketing strategies, and she helps small businesses to develop ones for themselves in order to get to the next level. So it's really exciting to have her with us today, and I'm looking forward to the information that she's going to share. Well, without any further ado, I'd like you guys to help me welcome to the studio Bashni Maharaj.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Bashni. It's really, really great to have you with us today. We're really honored and we're excited.
Thanks so much, Ntikozo. It's really an honor to be on the podcast with you today.
Thank you so much for your time and for agreeing to share your knowledge with us. Before we get started, with the questions that we have for today's topic, I just want you, to tell us a bit about yourself, about your journey. How did you get into marketing? How did you get into a place where you found this topic as being an important topic to focus your life's work on? So I think it would be great for everybody to know a bit more about you.
Oh, awesome. Thanks again for the opportunity. Yeah, that's a question of how did I get into this and where did it start? Not quite sure where exactly it started, whether it was by design or by default. But I studied, tourism, BCom tourism at the University of Pretoria many decades ago. And I think that's where my interest in, well, not just tourism and hospitality, but also in marketing began. And I was fortunate then to begin a career at South African Tourism. And I think my career has just grown since then. I think that the interest in marketing really came from a research perspective, which is really where I built my career. I started out in market research, really understanding what people do, why they do it, so that we could better inform how to attract people. And yeah, that's what led to me learning more about marketing and the importance of marketing in all businesses. It's often a thing where when people would think marketing is something that's just the pretty pictures or the videos, the fun stuff. That really it doesn't really play a big role in getting business. It's really more about spending money rather than making money. But actually, that's not true. There's quite a bit of science behind marketing, and it certainly does play a very important role. I think more so today than probably maybe decades and decades ago, because today, people have so many needs, and there's so many people offering services and products to meet those needs. So marketing is really what sets one business apart from the other, and I think it's become more and more important in today's world.
Phew, wow. Oh, that is so interesting. I always love to hear, the journeys of how people who are where they are got there, because I feel like it's an important part of us being able to relate with you so that we can better, be better positioned to hear what you have to say to us. Because I feel like once somebody connects and relates with somebody else, their hearts just become that much more open. So I feel like it's so important in terms of how your journey came about, and what you just said right now. I feel like it's so profound. I remember one person once told me something that was so powerful, that marketing, there's something called a marketing expense, but really he believes it shouldn't be a marketing expense, it should be an investment.
Absolutely.
Because if just because you have a business, if it doesn't mean that you're going to sell your product. So when you're marketing, you actually undertaking that part of your business that brings in customers. So if you're not marketing, you shouldn't be surprised if you're not getting any customers. So I found that
Absolutely.
quite interesting.
No, absolutely, Ntokozo. That's really the thing, is that we can all sit back and think of great ideas as entrepreneurs, as small business owners, that we have fantastic ideas that we believe will serve a need in the market. But if people don't know about you and what you're there offering, how are you ever going to grow that business? And so that's where I think, marketing does really play an important role. I mean, also just as a bit of a segue to what you're saying about, understanding me and where I've come from, I think more particularly as we talk, to and about the small businesses and the small business owner journey. When I was in corporate, and I worked in a public sector organization, a multinational, and our role was really about trying to make a difference to small business owners, and really trying to create opportunities for small business owners. And once I stepped out of that environment, did I realize the big gap between what sits up there from a corporate perspective to the realities that small business owners face, and me being a small business owner myself. So, looking at breaking down the importance of marketing, and also helping small business owners like myself, just navigate this path of saying, how do we go out there and actually make sure that our products, our services, what we're offering in the market is in fact known by them, but meets their needs, so that we can stand up and make a difference for ourselves. I do believe that small business owners in South Africa, I mean, small business plays a very important role in any economy, and I think very important for our economy. But I think somehow we think that marketing is just about, or for those companies that have big budgets, and our approach to that is always about, we need money to start marketing. You don't really need that amount of budget. You just need to think things through, be clear about what you want, and I think it's quite simple then to start attracting customers to your business.
Yeah, and I really love that. And I was just to add on what you were saying, that there is a way in which you can do it with the resources that you have. And obviously, if you want to develop such a way, you have to develop something called a marketing plan or marketing strategy. And one thing I know, being a person who does business plans quite a lot, is there's always that marketing strategy or marketing plan section in a business plan where people just add it. I've noticed you just add whatever you want to add there, because you're like, okay, I need to finish my business plan. But nobody actually takes it seriously to say, actually, let me write down my actual strategy based on the resources that I have and based on the market that I'm trying to get, in terms of planning exactly how to get there. So I think the first, question that I would have really is, what is truly, in its true essence, a marketing plan or marketing strategy, and what exactly does it entail?
No, I think that is an important question, Ntokozo. I think that the thing for me is that, look, there is a clear difference between a strategy and a plan. And probably if you look it up more formally, a strategy is really more the bigger picture, right? So it's telling you a little bit about the why you do what you do, but also about the what it is that you're going to do. So that gives you your big goals and objectives, arguably even your vision, etc. in the strategy. Where do you want to get to? The plan is a little bit more detailed. It talks about the how, and so if we want to get to point X, how are we actually going to do that? So it's a bit more detailing the activities, and all the nitty-gritties involved in getting to where you want to get to. So both actually play a role. I must say, for me, I'm in my business now at Inside Track, we're all about just removing the jargon, and just making things quite simple for small businesses. And so I wouldn't really get hung up on whether we use the term strategy or whether we use the term plan. I mean, if you go onto Google and you'll see that, some of the elements that or the sections of a strategy also feature in a plan. So, I mean, what's a strategy? What's a plan? I think the key thing that we must remember is really about being clear about where do we want to go. So what are those goals we plan to achieve? And then how, understanding a bit of where we are now so that we know how will we get to where we need to be. So it's a bit of a roadmap or a blueprint, if you want. And that's in essence what the difference between a strategy or a plan is, but why it's so important. It's about, it's like your version of Google Maps or Waze or something of that sort today. You want to get to a destination, you punch in, the destination. The location setting picks up where you are, and then it plans your route and the best possible route. So it's as simple as that. Without knowing where we want to go, how would we know we've reached there? But more importantly, also, how do we plan to get there? What are the things we need to make sure we get there? So that's the importance of, strategies and planning, and particularly that in marketing.
Sure. Wow. I think that is a great distinction between the two, because even I honestly, used to struggle between the two, especially when you're making that business plan. But when now you start thinking about what to put in, because I've honestly, seen a lot of differences concerning what to put in your marketing. Let's look at a marketing plan, because I feel like that's the one that's, small businesses can actually now start using to become a bit more active in terms of having a more set structure in terms of their marketing, and not just doing it all willy-nilly and expecting things to work out. But what are some of the elements then that will be so very key and very important to be added in your marketing plan? You spoke about, knowing where you are and where you're going, but, what are some of the routes in between that a person can take?
Sure. So I guess there's different approaches to things, and I'm not going to necessarily go through this in any particular order. I think that the key thing to know is, the first thing is it's setting your goals or your objectives. Where do you want to be? So, or what do you want to achieve? And this could be as, as an example, you'd want to increase the awareness of your business. So interchangeably, people will use the term brand as well as business, meaning one and the same thing, because your brand is your business. So you want people to be aware of your business, be aware of your brand. I mean, more importantly, what we want sales, right? So you want that awareness to be converted into sales for your business. So those are some examples of what your goals could be. Now, goals are also quite time specific, right? If we don't set a time by which we want to achieve this, then they just become dreams, and we're not really motivated to actually, do something actively to get there. So you'd need to understand, that's the where we're going. What are those goals and objectives we want to achieve? Once we've got that, I think it's important to understand your consumer. Okay. And I think this is the heart of most of the work that I've been doing and supporting small businesses since I started my business. when we're saying we need to understand your business, it's something quite specific, right? It's something, almost quite intimately. You've got to know who your consumer is. You've got to know not just their demographics, like, they're millennials or Generation X or etc. It's not good enough to know their age profile. You'd need to understand their lifestyle. What's their income profile like? What do they do for fun? How do they spend their money? What's their mindset really? The better you understand your consumer, the better you understand what their needs are. And then you can tailor what it is you're offering to actually meet their needs. So another important part of a marketing plan, a marketing strategy, is really about identifying your consumer. So you'd come across terms like consumer persona or buyer personas. Personas is the term that people use, but it's actually giving you a detailed picture of your customer. So I'll probably use a dating analogy, right? So I'm sorry, I'm out of, I'm not on any dating site, so I might be using something that's quite old. But let's say Tinder, right? So you're on Tinder. You're looking to meet someone for whatever reason. And when you're looking through, whether you're swiping, I don't know what's it, you're swiping right or swiping left, whichever the one is to pass along, swiping left, you look through people's details, right? You have a look at their picture, you get a sense of who they are, you look at what interests they have and, their age, etc., to give you a feel of whether that is somebody you would potentially want to make connection with, right? And it's a similar process from a business perspective, right? Your customers are looking to see whether you are actually a business that potentially can meet their need. And how do you get that? Is by talking to them as though you know exactly who they are. So consumer personas are really important. We need to also understand a bit of what your competitor landscape is. Okay, so who else is out there selling what? Now, the competitor landscape can be your direct competitors, okay? So people that sell or offer services very similar to what you do. But it could also be people that offer something very different, but people that are businesses that are competing for your customers' money, for their share of wallet, okay? So let me use an example in the entertainment industry. Okay, so I've mentioned that I spent quite a bit of my career in tourism, and part of what we were looking to do was make people travel to South Africa. So competitors for South Africa could be other destinations. So, for example, Australia, Kenya, the United States, Thailand. I mean, any other country in the world is a competitor to South Africa. But it could also be other kind of categories. So whether people are spending their money on cars, houses, instead of spending their money on taking a trip. So we've got to look at competitors quite broadly, just to give you a sense of who else is out there and what else is being offered in the market. And I think, most plans also ask businesses to consider what their strengths and weaknesses are. So that's the where am I at right now? What do I have access to? And, with all of these things, I think it's important then to craft what what sets you apart, what is unique about your business. Because when you are unique, and then you'd stick out and people would then most likely come to use your services first or buy your product first. So I would say those are some of the key bits of information you would need for your plan and strategy. Sure, we can go into a lot more detail, in terms of the consumers, which media channels do they consume, online. Are people using Facebook or Instagram? How much of YouTube do people use, So if you're targeting older people, is it more likely that you'd find them on Facebook, or would you find them on TikTok, for example? Those you can get into more detail as you go along, but I think those are the key bits.
Mm.
I think the key thing for me in everything I do and with all the businesses I've worked with so far, it's really been about zoning in on the customer
Yeah.
and
Wow.
really drawing that out very clearly, because once we've got that, then it becomes easier to fill out the rest of the plan or the strategy.
Phew. That is awesome. Thank you so much for that detailed and comprehensive answer. Phew, I learned so much myself, and I said, as someone who does business plans and has done them so many times, I feel like there's so much wrong I was doing when it comes to this particular section. But thank you for that. I think it's really quite eye-opening. You mentioned something quite special there when you spoke about the consumer personas, understanding the language in which you need to speak to. I've never thought of a business, transaction or business relationship, similar to that of a dating relationship, where you have to tell your customers, show them why you're the perfect match. And the fact that marketing can actually do that for you, for me, adds just another layer and another dimension to it. That is actually exciting as well. So thank you so much for that, Bashni. I think that's really powerful. And just going a bit further, now we know about the marketing plan and the marketing strategies. What would you say then, for somebody who's starting this journey of marketing? What are some of the marketing do's and the marketing don'ts? Just basic, like right off the bat. What are some of the things you have to have as arrows in your quiver, and some of the things you have to avoid, just from the bat? Maybe we can do one of each or two of each.
Sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think, in answering that question, I must say, even the way I work with my clients, it's not something that is a clear cut yes or no. I think every business is unique, every business has their own story. So I think, there would be certain things that may work for some businesses better than it would for others. But I think the clear thing I must say is the do's is again, I can't emphasize more understanding your customer. Remember, even if you're selling, a can of baked beans, we don't just buy blindly. There's
Mm,
many factors we look at when we're standing in the aisles and looking at what to buy and what not to buy, and often what appeals to us. Either functionally, or rationally, whether it's price or taste, or whether it's something emotional, where people get the sense of, oh, this is something good for my family, or it will just be healthy for my family to consume. Those things become important. So knowing your customer is really, really important in any marketing plan. I think once you've got that, another important to do is defining what your business brand is. So having your brand story, because that is important to ensure that you're consistent. Okay. Now, brand is not just about the colors and the logo and the font and all of those things. It's a lot more than that. It's also about, what we talk about is the tone or the personality of your business. So again, a lot of analogies I'm talking about as it relates to people. And I'm glad you picked up on the dating analogy, because I think it's a simple, easy to relate to
mm,
analogy. Okay. So, if you think about it, if I can build it a bit further, as people, we want to get to know the business better, right? So I'm a customer. I want to know a bit more about your business. I want to know what you stand for, what is important to you, what isn't important to you, the level of service you provide, the products you offer, services you offer. And I want to know that that is something I'm going to get consistently from you.
mm,
So consistency is important, and that's where brands, I believe, win. Okay. So even as small businesses, important to know what your personality is. Okay. How you show up. Are you casual? Are you more formal? Are you serious? Are you playful?
mm.
Are you respectful? Are you a bit irreverent? What are those things that you look at? Because that is important. It guides every interaction you have with your customer. So
Sure.
remember, the marketing is about attracting, right? So we're attracting businesses to customers to your business. But the marketing journey doesn't only stop there. So if I'm a customer to your business and you did a fantastic advert or social media activity that got me to purchase your service, but as I've used your service, you've given me some great customer experience. So what happens when I've done with the transaction? I would go and talk to other people and give you reviews. So the marketing journey continues, and what we read in reviews or what we hear from our friends or other peers is important for us because it helps us define the choice and validate the choices that we're making. So I think the two things, knowing your customer very clearly is important in marketing. And then also, I would say defining your brand, because you need to make sure that that is the golden thread that links through all the work that you do, every business interaction. Don't just send off a sloppy email. Don't be late when you're meeting clients, those kind of things. If
Wow.
you look at the don'ts, you know, I can't think of anything like two things, but I think the one thing I would say is don't just show up for the sake of it. Right? Remember, I've said in my experience, it's really competitive out there. So I've been looking for different services online, right? So I Google first point of call and you type in what you're looking for. And then I look at a company website and it's just one page. That doesn't give me enough information, depending on what I'm looking for me to make a decision. Would I ever go back to that company again? No. Remember, first impressions are important. So I would say don't just have a presence for the sake of it. Have some thought in everything you do. I think it's people want to be made to feel special. Okay. Treat me like I'm somebody that matters. And when you do that, even on your website, showing me that you've thought about what you're doing and what you're selling and what you're offering, I am more likely to engage with you than if you just treat me as just somebody else that you can get some money from. So I would say
Phew.
those,
Wow.
that would be some advice I can share.
Wow. No, thank you. Thank you so much for those. I like what I like, and it's what I keep emphasizing, in every episode that, for me, the best sort of advice when it comes to a business is advice that can be practical, something that I can hear right now and apply almost immediately. Tomorrow, after I watch this, I apply. And this is what you've been teaching us. And I'm so grateful for that. Those are so, I know, such powerful points. And I guess, that I feel like a lot of people would then be asking, you speak about understanding your customer, or getting to know a bit more about your customer. What are some of the ways a person can do that? Is it something that, do you need to make a survey and send it out? Do you go door to door in your community and talk to them? What are some of the cheaper and more basic or simpler methods of actually getting that very valuable information about your customer?
Sure. So, I mean, again, Google can be everyone's friend. There's so much of valuable information out there, but then there's also not so valuable information out there on the internet. So, if you go and Google about things, everyone will talk to you about surveys, and I won't, diminish the importance of that. But these things cost money. Even if you're going to do use Google Forms, for example, which everyone has access to if you have a Gmail account, etc. So I think there's many ways to look at understanding your customer. The key thing, I mean, there's no one right or wrong way. I think the important thing is to speak to or listen to as many people as possible. So I use the word speak or listen. So what can you do? Talk to people that are in a similar category, offering a similar business product or service than you are. Who would their consumers be? Okay, so I'm just trying to think of an example. Maybe if we're looking at a guest house or a B&B, right, and that's your business, and you're looking to attract domestic tourists, for example. So you'd need to have a bit of a sense of who you're looking for or who you're after. And then, I mean, we have so many people in our circle or, in your own network, just talking to people. I think the
Mm.
important thing, though, before chatting to people is having a little, a set of questions that you'd want answered. Then having those conversations and listening to what people are saying is very important
Mm.
because it's not about just the answer that people will give you, but it's about everything else that they're saying that we need to listen to. So that's one way to talk to people. Social media, again, looking at other businesses that are in a similar category to what you are thinking of, following those pages, looking at who where the followers are, what comments people are making, what are the reactions, etc. That gives you a bit of information as well. I mean, looking to, reading, listening to news reports, reading up things on the internet. There's a lot of information you can get on the internet as well. Of course, there is the importance, and you can design a bit of a survey and put that out. It can be quite cost effective. It can range from cost effective to quite expensive, depending on what you're looking for. But I must say, sometimes you have access, or even people in your immediate network have access to the information you need. So
Mm.
I've helped some small businesses without doing any surveys myself. It's
Sure.
been about just looking on the internet, reading up what other businesses have done, what other papers provide. And then it's about, I guess this could be hard work, but it could be fun as well. It's about applying your mind.
Yeah.
That's, I think, where the hard part is. So yes, that's where you can collect a lot of data because in the digital age, information is collected so much, and that is what people do share a lot of.
Mm.
I mean, there's this podcast, there's other podcasts, there's other websites. You just need to know what it is you're looking for, and you're most likely to find it out on the
Sure.
internet.
Wow, thank you for that. And I think it leads us to the next question that we had, because I mean, you are an expert when it comes to, marketing or research in terms of marketing as well as, insights. There's something called marketing insights. And a lot of people don't know about them. And those who do see them, I mean, you probably come across something saying page insights or group insights on Facebook, and you're like, it's numbers, it's intimidating. I don't want to look at that. And
Sure.
we don't realize how important it is. So maybe you can explain to us what are insights when it comes to marketing and why are they important, and maybe how can they help a small business owner.
Sure. No, I'm glad you've asked that. I think there's two parts to this, right? So the one part is what is an insight, and I think that's probably an overtraded term, very much like strategy, and it could be another buzzword as well.
Mm.
So for me, I guess you can get the dictionary definitions of insights, etc. But for me, insights is that data where value has been added to that data. So it tells me a bit more than just a fact. But
Mm.
more than that, it gives me ideas on what to do. So if you want, it's a little bit of a so what. Okay? It
Mm.
answers the so what of a piece of information. So people use insights a lot, and I'm glad you've mentioned the Facebook insights. When you'd go and get all of your data, and yeah, it's a lot of data, and it can mean nothing if you don't make it mean
Mm.
something to you.
Mm.
So that's something also quite important where we can learn from. And as you asked earlier on, where do we get data from? On your own Facebook page, your business Facebook page, on your website, you have all of this data, this analytics that sits behind it. And about looking at that and making sense of that is where the insight actually, comes from. So usually for me, an insight comes when I'm putting two pieces of data together, So, I think of an example in my career. If I'm saying the average age of the South African population is 28. Okay, yeah, that's a fact. But what would be an insight would be maybe if I add to that a bit of saying that we have an internet penetration in South Africa of, I'm not sure the exact number, but let's say it's about 60%, right?
Mm.
So, what does that two pieces of information tell me? So, for me, the insight is that we have South Africa has a young population that is internet savvy or has access to internet. So, that tells me that I could probably reach a younger audience in South Africa using digital means. So that's where insights become important and what they actually mean and how they can be used. Data, yes, I am a data person. I am a numbers person. I love learning and I'm very curious. But it's those bits of data that you get on the Facebook analytics, and don't be intimidated by the data depth. You know, there's a lot of rich information that's there that can help you, as I said, give you ideas on what to do to refine your business, can give you ideas on opportunities to exploit, but can also give you ideas on solutions to solve particular challenges. So that's what we're looking for in all of this. When you're looking for insights, it's about telling me, so what? So what do I need to do to improve or refine my business? That's how I typically look at that.
Phew, wow. Thank you so much for that. And this time I'm saying actually thank you personally, because I know this is one of the things that I've been struggling with. I do have so many other social media accounts, and I always do get intimidated with the insights because I didn't have this mindset that you have, taking, for example, the two pieces of information and coming up with a conclusion. So what? Where to from here? I've seen something that says there's about 50% of this gender in my group or whatever it is. But in terms of doing something about it, that's where there was always a hiccup. And I feel like that's what's happening to a lot of small business owners, where we do have access to these insights. I mean, for example, even with a website, you can go on there and see how many people are coming onto your website, the bounce rate and things along those lines. They're always there and they're freely available. There's Google Analytics. But I feel like so many of us, end up missing the importance of, the benefit of those stats, because we have no idea in terms of where do I start to even analyze it or to even come up with any conclusion from this. So I feel like, you've given us a great start when it comes to that. And once that fear element is gone, then I feel like we're going to be, a bit more active, when it comes to that. And I guess what I wanted to ask also, just finally on that, is would you then recommend somebody to learn how to interpret those insights themselves, or that those analytics themselves, or find someone like you, for example, who is an expert to help them navigate through that?
So, Ntokozo, definitely. Look, I think the thing that I've learned is that, some people are good at some things and others at others. And that's why we have opportunities, in this whole world. I'm not good at plumbing, for example. I might be better at baking, So it takes all kinds. So I think the important thing here for me, and this is where my business was there, is really, the philosophy behind what we do at Inside Track is really about simplifying tools, simplifying insights, strategies, plans for business owners. So one thing we appreciate is that small business owners are really busy, right? We are, and I talk from experience here, right? So someone said to me once, you're the CEO and the janitor in your business. Okay. And that hasn't held more true for me than actually sitting as a small business owner myself. And thinking about the millions of things that you've got to do is to keep your business afloat and then succeed and grow, etc., is takes a lot of time. And sometimes and often, small business owners don't have the time to think. Okay. And so this is where we step in, and what we're happy to do and what we offer our clients is that boost up, if you want, So we take the data, we take the analytics, we analyze it for you, we simplify it for you, and then we enable you to monitor and track this regularly. We're happy to do it for you if you wish, but I think my philosophy always has been, the old adage about, you know, give a man a fish and you kind of feed him for a day, and teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. That's really something that holds true to me. So in this whole process, that when we work with clients, it's really based on what their needs are and what their appetite is. We're like and very happy to empower our clients to do this for themselves on a regular basis, but we're happy to take the first plunge, because data can be quite intimidating, and those Facebook, the data dump that you get from Facebook is a lot. So what is the one indicator, and how is that different from this one? It can be quite time consuming and confusing if you don't know where to go. But I do think if you're open to it, you're curious, nothing stops you from delving in a bit, doing a little bit of digging around there yourself. Because we start our own business, right? We're not in a corporate world. It's ours. Its success or its failure depends on us as the owner. And I believe it's important for us to take that interest in the business. At Inside Track, we can certainly speed it up for you, right? So we're kind of your management consultants that often big corporates have, kind of the advisors that come in and tell you things. And we're that, but we're that just for the small businesses. So I think it's a little bit of both. It really depends on the audience. It can be intimidating. We can take that anxiety away from you, but we'd be better placed if we can help you understand what you're looking at every month,
Wow.
and how you can use it to grow your business.
Phew. No, thank you for that. I feel like that's so important for your business to exist. I feel like it really covers a real need, and probably one that's going to keep on growing, because we are in a digital space that is always changing. You look at Facebook, there's things like algorithms behind them that dictate
Yes,
how
yes.
content works. So it's going to be hard for a small business owner to be busy doing what they're doing and still keep up to date with all these things. So I do feel like and believe that you do cover, or rather, yeah, meet a very definite need there, and want to say thank you for that. And I hope, as you were explaining, the need came across and people actually started understanding why this is needed, why it exists. And if we can't afford you for now, why we should at least, take the plunge or take the initiative to learn these things or to do them ourselves until such a time as we're able to outsource it to companies like yours. So I just want to say thank you for that. Oh man, I can't believe we had a couple more questions that we wanted to ask you, but now we are basically out of time. But maybe just before you go, or before we say bye to you, maybe we can just quickly tackle one other aspect, and that's when you're using Facebook, you spoke of brand awareness, and then you spoke of also customer, trying to attract customers, and these are two different goals, albeit they all sort of like leading to the same thing. But what would you say are some of the best way, or the best platforms, or the best ways within those platforms, to use them as a conversion tool, like to use, for example, Facebook
Sure.
as a conversion tool as opposed to just gaining followers?
Absolutely. So, yeah, I think certainly for small business owners, I think social media, digital media is really the most affordable and accessible and probably user-friendly way to market. And I think we all default on that, not just that we're living in a digital era, but I think it's also something, those tools are just geared and suit our business a bit better than us doing big billboards and TV ads, etc.
Mm.
So the key thing I think to understand, through all this, and again going back to the dating analogy, it's kind of like I know you, I like you, or I'm interested, I want to get to know you a bit more. I like you, and then probably I want to get married to you. I don't know what the whole journey would be at the end there, but it's that kind of journey you want to go through. So followers are really just about being passive, right? I'm there. I choose to follow your business page, but I sit back and I watch. I watch what you
Mm.
post. I watch what others are saying. Once I start engaging, okay, how am I engaging? I'm responding likes, loves, all of those emoticons. I'm also looking at comments that I make. What are people saying? Am I sharing? Your post, reposting,
Mm.
etc. Those become important indicators of how engaged I am. So engagement is a higher quality of followers, and I think
Mm.
that's where we want to get to. It's also important that you allow people from your Facebook page, your Insta page, that you have an option where they can convert. So now I want to sign up. I want to buy. I want to do something. Where's the little button that says buy or
Mm.
sign up, or something that gets me to do something? I know you've had people talk as well on digital media and websites and stuff. Website is critical. You want people to get to your website because there you can offer lots and lots and lots more information. Do that. But remember, when you're on Facebook, when you're on Instagram, you need to talk to people based on their needs, okay? Not on what you think they need, okay? You've got to put yourself in their shoes. I've said to a client recently, I've helped them with some of their digital media, and I looked at some of their pictures and I said, I must say some of your pictures that you put on Facebook, I like it because you're my client, not because it actually appeals to me.
Mm.
And yet there are some images and some videos or pictures that actually touch my heart, make me smile or get a reaction from me. And that's what we need to get to. So all
Mm.
things we do is about moving to that. When we talked about learning, etc., again, there is a lot of information out on the internet. Again, not everything is terribly useful. But I must say that I found the Meta site, the Facebook Meta, it's their kind of tech learning platform. They offer some very simple, easy to use templates and understanding on how to set up your marketing plan on Facebook, particularly. I think the principles are pretty much the same for social for Instagram. So that's something you could look at where it makes it quite accessible.
Mm.
I think the parting thing for me is it's about learning. It's about continuously learning. Insights are not something magical that you got to pay a lot of money for.
Yeah.
It's all around us. It's about applying our mind, know your customer, be consistent, and move from followers, the passive, into the active. Let's get to engagement. And let me, when you've got me, give me an opportunity to press buy or sign
Wow.
up or subscribe, get me to do that.
Wow. Phew. Wow. That is absolutely incredible. I love that so much. Phew. Where were you 4 years ago? No, thank you. Thank you so much. I feel like that's so practical and it's such, I'm gonna follow it. I'm definitely gonna follow that as soon as we're done with this podcast. So thank you so much, Bashni. Thank you. I feel like you address so many different points that are so key, are so important in this journey of marketing. And anyone who's listening, I'm sure they're blown away, just as I am. And it's one of those videos that you want to watch over and over again until you get to a place where you are applying every aspect of it. So we are out of time, but I want to just say thank you so much, Bashni. And We really appreciate the work that you're doing. You went from corporate and you're taking all the experience, over 20 years of experience. Not only are you sharing it with us on this platform, but you've created a company specifically to help small businesses as they transition, in their growth cycle. So I want to say thank you for that, as well as thank you for all the wisdom and all the pearls that you've given us today. Really appreciate you. And just before you go, maybe you can tell the people where they can find you, where they can find your business, some of your social media handles, and maybe even some of the services you might think they need.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ntikozo. I must say I'm quite humbled, and thank you for this platform that allows me to reach a lot more of my target audience. So thank you. I think the simplest thing would be through my website, which is insighttrack.co.za. And yes, I'm happy to engage, share my wisdom, share what I've learned. I'm also learning, and I hope to learn from people I engage with as well. So yes, I look forward to just sharing, learning, growing. I think we all can build a better, healthier economy for our country where we all benefit from. So that's where you can find me, Insight Track, one word, .co.za. But Ntikozo, thank you again so much. It's really an honor to be on this platform, and I look forward to engaging with you going forward.
Thank you so much, Bashni. And we do also look forward to having you back here and engaging with you in any other way that is possible. But until then, we want to say goodbye to you and a warm thank you once again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Wow, that was Bashni Maharaj, the founder of Insight Track, with over 20 years experience in the marketing and the marketing research field. I, learned so much. I know we went a bit over time, but sometimes when you're getting so much, you just want to get as much as possible. I do hope you stayed with us till the end of the video, or that you're going to come back and watch it again if you left it halfway. But thank you so much for joining in. Thank you for those who are joining us live. Sorry that we couldn't go into your comments today. But we will always try and engage with you as much as possible. I really hope you learned as much as you could from that, just as I did. We have come to the end of the show for today. And as always, I want to encourage you, if you want your business to be advertised for free on this platform, don't be afraid to send through your logo and to send through your business information, and we will advertise your business for free. And also make sure you catch me every Monday at 2:10 on Hope Alive radio station. It's an online radio station where I will be talking about, this particular topic or the topic from other podcast weeks. And we just engage deeper into in terms of what the guest said, so that we get more and more nuggets out of it. It's going to be great. Make sure you tune in every Monday and you'll find me there. But as for the business forecast, that's all we have for you today. I'm Dawozo Hlachwayo, and until next time, keep pushing, keep grinding, stay busy, and I wish you all the success for your business.